Okay, how's everybody doing? Is everybody paying attention to the election or probably not? If everybody's doing that, so. Okay, you just have to be patient. Okay, so there's an assignment for this week. So last week I gave you some sort of a break. So there was no assignments, but this week you have an assignment that's you had an assignment for that, forgot the name of that, the radio flyer wagons. So there was a print assignment. Now you have the radio assignment and the storyboard for the commercial, a TV commercial assignment. So all the instructions are there. So I went over that last week, so I'm not going to go over that again. So this week, I'm going to cover chapter 12 of the book, but I'll go a little more than chapter 12. You remember last time we were talking about traditional advertising, which is the print, TV, radio, and all that. But things are shifting to digital advertising more and more. So this is probably, this year was last year, there was the budget spent on digital advertising have passed the traditional advertising. So there's more money now being spent on digital advertising than on traditional advertising. Unfortunately, that book doesn't cover much of the digital advertising or digital marketing because it's a book that was probably published 3 years ago. So I have a PDF that has some information there because this is going to be part of the quiz that you're going to take. When there's a quiz, let me see. Yeah, that's week 13. So next, okay, the week, a week from, not this week, the following week. So the 15th is the deadline to take that quiz. So that quiz is going to cover, let me share my screen. So today we are here. I'm going to cover chapter 12 and a little more than that. And then you'll have the quiz for, that will be the week of 9 to 15. And it's going to cover chapter 10, 11, 12, 13, and the digital marketing PDF that I have here. Let me show you here. I'm going to cover most of that today, but this is a PDF that I have here for you to read. To open that. Talks a little bit. It gives an overview of basically the fundamentals of digital marketing. Because as you know, there is a full class on digital marketing that you can take. I think you can take that class. And this just gives you an overview. For the ones that have taken digital marketing, this is going to be a very easy part of your quiz. But I'll go over that now. So just make sure that before you take the quiz, you can take it anytime. It's open on Monday, I think. Then you have till Sunday to take the quiz. And just make sure, let me see here, something here to make sure that I know the time. I'm going to close this. It's not open yet. I'm just going to see. Okay, it's like, forgot many questions, but you have 20 minutes to take this quiz. And I think it's only like 10 questions. Oh, 20 questions. So you have like a minute for each question. I might increase this a little bit. Instead of 20 minutes, give you a little more than that. So probably I'll do this now before I forget. I'll give you, because usually they say, it takes like 80 seconds to a minute for each question. So I'll give you another extra 5 minutes. What is that? 28 minutes should be fine. Oh, let me change this here because I got to do it here. Okay. So this is not for this week, this is for the following week. But let's go talk a little bit about digital marketing. And let me do. Okay, let's go and talk. As I mentioned, traditional marketing is on, not that it's on the decline, but very few people are using traditional marketing now because most of us don't have enough budget. Most companies don't have enough budget to spend on traditional marketing. And digital marketing and digital advertising, you don't need a lot of budget to do that. Sometimes with $500 a month, you can do very well on digital advertising. So there's many ways you can do that. I'll cover every single channel in a second. So the big difference that you had before between the traditional marketing. Traditional marketing was like a one-way marketing. It was mass marketing, we call it. Came from the manufacturers or the advertiser to the receiver. Not us as consumers, we just got bombarded with marketing, and from all kinds of marketing, there was no personalized marketing. It was like mass marketing. Everybody got the same message. And it was through billboards, newspaper, direct mail, radio, and TV. By the way, the only media here that's still growing a little bit, probably 3% per year, is the billboard. For some reason, it's still effective because you drive, people see that. Newspaper, direct mail, radio, TV are on decline. So when we talk about like social media marketing or other channels, it's from the sender to the receiver. Sometimes the conversation starts on the receiver because you can go on social media and start talking about a product, and it just goes to the sender. So okay, let's go back to, I'm sorry about the phones. So on digital marketing, everything is about data. It's data-driven. Today, you probably heard about the term big data. Big data it's not just because of the amount of the data, it's the complexity of the data. So it's a data that incorporates the user behavior, because this data is harvested on the websites through cookies and all that. When you navigate on any website, if their website has a cookie, and now they are by law, they warn you that their website has a cookie. So what that means is a JavaScript code that's on the website that you don't see, but it can tell where you click, what you do, and all that. So it's your behavior online that actually being collected there. So all this data is important for marketing, but also there is like a balance that has to be, so there is no invasion of privacy, and that's a problem. In Europe, they already addressed that issue, and they have very strict laws about data privacy. But here in the United States, as you probably know, they don't like to regulate, depends on who's governor at the time. So they leave up to the companies to auto-regulate. And you know that companies, they don't do a good job by auto-regulating them, because they'd like to, they do whatever they want, whatever makes money for them. Okay, so let's move here. So digital marketing is all about data-driven marketing. So the good thing about data-driven marketing is because you know the customer, so you're able to send the right message to the right person at the right time, at the right frequency. So this is important on digital marketing, because if this is what makes digital marketing different. Because let's say for email marketing, we receive emails all the time. But if you are receiving emails of products or service that you would never buy, it doesn't relate to you, you probably unsubscribe that. But if you are receiving like emails from, let's say, Amazon or other companies, they already know your behavior, what you buy, what you don't buy. So they send you things, sometimes deals, based on previous purchase or your previous behavior online. So sometimes we look for that and we don't subscribe, but it has to be the right message to the right person at the right time. And the right frequency, that's also important, because if you're starting to receive emails every day, you're probably gonna subscribe, because it gotta be a balance there of the number of emails that that an advertiser should be sending to the target audience. So let's talk about, anybody have heard about HubSpot? Okay, HubSpot is a company very close, it's in Cambridge. And they create this type of tool. It's a marketing tool, also a CRM, which controls the database of the big data, let's say. And also as a marketing tool that allows you to market properly your target audience. But also they create a new philosophy of marketing. So the traditional marketing, as I have here, you see that's cold calling, cold emails, it's interruptive ads, is probably by TV or radio, all that. But inbound marketing is about attracting people to you through your website. That's why it's called inbound marketing. It's a different concept of the traditional marketing. So they have what they call custom-centric market, that's inbound marketing. So their first step is try to attract people to their website. Then they want to engage with those people they attract to the website. And then they want to convert them to customers and delight them with the products and the information. So this is really the journey of what HubSpot methodology is. So they want to attract people to your website. So before, they are strangers. Once they get to your website, they're visitors, but you don't know them. So the goal here is to try to get some information from them, like email, first name and last name maybe, with a form, like they say here. So you can convert those visitors to leads, because when they become leads, they still, we can say, cold leads. So the next step is to try to nurture those leads through different emails, marketing, but it has to be the email that I mentioned to you, the right message to the right person, and at the right time, at the right frequency. So then you close the deal by trying to convert those leads to customers. And once they become your customers, eventually they become promoters of your product on Facebook. Yeah, I've tried this product. It's like word of mouth. So you got to keep delighting them with information, sometimes give deals to them so they can buy more products and all that. So this is usually what it's called the attract stage, engage, where you engage with them to try to convert them from, from just visitors to customers. And there's a process there. And I'll show you what we call the buyer's journey. So there is 3 stages here. So what are the stages? Let me give you an example. Let's say if you are working and you see your colleagues getting promoted, getting advanced in the career, but you're not getting that. So you're starting to think at work, okay, maybe I need to do something, probably go take a master's degree or take another course or whatever. So this is the awareness stage, very early in the funnel. And so they don't know what they want. All they know, they have a problem and they want to fix that problem by either taking a course, a new degree, or doing something to advance their career. So once they make a decision, I'd say, okay, I'm going to take a master's degree, but I'm not sure exactly in what. So now that person already know, it goes to the consideration stage. This is a stage that we all do. A lot of research on, a lot of search online to find out information. because we are not ready to buy the product or to buy the service. We are looking for information online. And the goal of any manufacturer is when you look for that information, they want their website to be there to provide you that information that would be relevant to those keywords that people are typing in on different search engines. So this is the consideration stage where if you have already nurturing those people because you know their email, you'll be sending email, you try to provide them information. It's not a time here for them to force a sell. It's time because they're not ready. They're looking for information. So that's what you should be doing at this stage. When somebody says, for example, okay, I've already decided I'm going to take a master's degree in communication and media relations or whatever. So then it's already here. Now this is where is the hard sell. So this is where LaSalle or any other college say, hey, come to us. We'll give you that degree and give all the good things about taking a degree at LaSalle or any other college. This is the time that you do the hard sell. Never here, never here. This is the new methodology of trying to sell and help people move down the funnel in order to provide them information to the point that they are right, called hot leads. So going back to HubSpot, HubSpot is a tool that's called the marketing tool, they call it, that you can create email marketing, social media marketing, whatever. And for each interaction they have, that prospect client has with you, there is a score that you decide, okay, if that person opened an email, he gets so many points. It's called the lead score, because once that person reaches, you make a decision on the tool, reaches a certain amount of a score, then you say it's a hot lead. It has so many interactions with us. That person is ready to buy the product or whatever. So this is probably when you make a call, because if you're trying to make a call right here, you're going to scare them away. He doesn't want to talk to you. He's not ready. Or she's not ready. So this is what we call the buyer journey. Let's move on. So this is the steps. I'm not going to cover this because this is not important for this course here. So I'm going to be covering some of the things that you see here, the website, Google Analytics, not a lot of that. I'll talk a little bit about SEO. This is search engine, display advertising. I'll go over this step by step. Let's start with the website. The website is the main hub of your digital assets. So you have to start. If you don't have a website, probably doesn't make a lot of sense for you to do email marketing because you don't have any place to send them for information. So the website is the number one thing. So you have to have a nice website. And one of the things that you have to make sure on the website that you have a responsive website. What that means is it's a website that can be read nicely in any device, either smartphone, tablet, or desktop. Way back, now any website, you have one website that can be displayed nicely any of those devices. But way back, the technology was not there. So the companies, what they did, they create a website for the desktop and then sometimes a very light version of the main website to be displayed on the smartphones. Today, everybody has the same website to do all that. So you have to make sure that your website, believe it or not, there's some websites out there that's still not responsible websites. So your website has to be user-centric. So make sure that website answers all the questions that users are looking for, and easy navigation and all that, because it's the center of your business. So if you already have one website, or if you're constructing one, so you got to ask yourself a few things. Does does my website serve the purpose I planned for? Does it convey that the purpose of my business is? So then whom do I want to visit my online business? Basically talking, who's your target audience? Am I providing content that those types of visitors want? So are the content relevant to your visitors? What is my website really being used for? So these are the questions that you should ask yourself about your website. So there's a lot more to a website, but I cannot cover all that in one session here. But again, if you read that PDF, you'll have a lot more information there that you can then use so you can understand better what websites should be. Now, the three things that you have to make sure if you don't have a website, you're going to start by constructing your website. The first thing is the domain name. Does anybody know what domain name is? Okay, I'll cover that. So you got to have a domain name. For example, the domain name of LaSalle is laselle.edu. That's a domain name. Google.com, it's the domain name, but I'll cover that in a second. Then, after you have the domain name for your website, then you need a server where you can store all the files. You could use your computer, but then you have to configure your computer, and your computer has to be live 24 hours. So a server is basically a computer that has a lot of backup, because if one part goes down, then the backup comes on. So there is no downtime for people that are using that computer for a website. So a domain name, then you got to find a server. There is many companies out there, and I'll show you a few companies in a second that provide that service for offering domain names and also offering a host where you can host your website. Then the files of your website. This is something that you have to construct or have a developer construct for you. So this is just a rough example of a website, like a structure of a website. This is a website with 4 pages. Very simple. So we have the home page, the about page, the service page, and the contact page. And besides the page, most websites has a lot more pages than this, as you can imagine. And websites are done in different language, HTML, JavaScript, PHP, and other languages out there. Then you need to have a folder so you can organize all your images that belong to website are stored in a folder. Because the pages that you have for your website is just code. The images are not there. When this page is loaded in your browser, it calls in for the image that will load in a space that was designed for the image to log in. So you need to have a folder for all your images. Then the CSS stands for Cascade Style Sheet. This is what controls the look and feel of your website, to change the colors, to change the architecture, the way you see. And these are the scripts, like JavaScripts and all the scripts for website. So this is just an idea of a very simple structure of a website. But all websites have a folder for image, a folder for CSS files, and a folder for scripts. And all these other pages live within the server. So what else you need? You need a domain name, as I mentioned to you, and you need a web hosting once you have all the pages. So what's web hosting? I explained to you. So, and this is not, this is just an example. This could be the files. Like, think about the files that you have, and here it's like a computer, and all your files would be stored very organized in the computer. But what I'm trying to say here is this is a photo of a company with servers. So this is, say, a host company would have hundreds of computers all inside here. They're just computers, but they have many computers. Right here, they probably have one here, one on the bottom, one. There's several computers here. And sometimes they're all connected, because if something goes wrong here, this one just goes on. So there is no downtime. Because if you, a lot of companies, you know, large corporations like Amazon, they have their own servers, they probably have 4 or 5 of this because they're a large company and they need to have their own servers. But if you have a small company and you need a website, you're not going to have a server there in your office for many reasons. One is you need a backup all the time. Second, you need somebody to maintain that if something goes wrong. So it's better to spend the money and host your website in external third party. And I'll show you in a minute, you know, several companies that offer that server. It's not expensive. Sometimes for less than $10 a month, you can have a server to host your website. Sometimes $5 a month, depends how big is your website. So these are examples of domain name: Cambridge College, Google.com, Lucelle.com, and all that. And here I have the IP number. I don't know if anybody knows what an IP number is. I'll explain in a second. So a website, I mean, a domain name is something that you register. Today, if you want a domain name .com, it's going to be very difficult because most of the names are already taken for .com. And some people bought domain names way back, some very generic domain names like business.com, like sex.com. They bought them way back when the internet was starting to become popular, probably in early 2000s or probably late 1900, I mean 1999, something like that, or probably early 2000. Some domain names were sold probably 10 years ago by like $5 million. And they only cost like $10 to $20 a month, I mean a year. Today, you can't do that because all domains, good domain names are taken. So sometimes that's the reason sometimes you see companies with a very strange name because they want a domain name with .com. So they go and they're searching to see what's available. Sometimes they find, oh, I'm going to take this one because those generic names, they're all taken. But now there is other extensions, and I'll explain that in a second. So the domain name is the address of your website. But each server has what we call the IP address, which is Internet Protocol address. You could have a website without buying a domain name, just with numbers. This number is the number of that server that you are hosting your website. So you could, if you wanted, you say, I'm not going to buy a domain, I'm going to use this. You could. The only problem is, who would remember this? That's why the domain name kind of masks this number. So when you buy domain name, you have to configure that domain name to point to this number of your IP of your server. So you don't have to worry about the number. So if you have somebody designing your website, he knows how this is done. It's pretty easy, but you need to do that. So basically now that you have your domain name, you need to host your website in some place. So this is just an illustration of what I'm talking about. In a sense, your domain name is the address for your house. The house is the host. And then you have all your files inside. So where can you register your domain name? Oh, before we go there, this is the different. So I mentioned .com, the most popular one, but very few names available right now. You can do a search and you're going to find that you probably, if you have a company with a very generic name, even if it's your own name, if it's like a very common name, you're not going to be able to find that available. It has to be a very non-common name. This is one that you can buy. Then there is .org. Usually it's used by an organization. .net. A lot of companies don't find .com available. They use .net or .biz, .info, .biz. This is just for government in the United States, and this is only for higher education in the United States. Now there is TV, there's tons of extensions now. I'll cover that in a second. Then for each country also has their own extension. So it would be google.uk or google.de for Germany. This is still, everybody wants a .com because it's the most popular one. But I know that in Spain, in Portugal, in Greece, most of local domain of a business, they use their own local because it's easier to find this. And so they don't target international. So for them, it's fine to have local extensions. And it's easy to find the name that you're looking for because, as I said, .com, it's ready. So now there is tons of extensions. See here, example. So you have .social. So whatever name you pick here. I don't know. To me, some probably would make sense, but then it's going to be very difficult for you to market this. If you have a real estate, probably this would make sense, or a restaurant. But you try to find something that's more common. If you don't find anything, then probably your options is to look in other extensions. It's all there for you to buy. For bar, yeah, this is not too bad because only 3 letters. But once you have a restaurant, you got to type in, especially if you're using a smartphone, you got to type whatever the name of the restaurant, then restaurant. So you want something easy, like bar is not bad, this is not bad, even jobs cannot be bad. But again, you have many options now. If you cannot find a domain name on .com, there is many other options. See, these are companies that you can buy domain names. GoDaddy, also some companies will offer you a domain name, like most of this here, and also they offer you a host service. And sometimes they offer you a package that you pay like $8, $9 a month, and includes not only the server, but the domain name that you select there. And this is other companies that offer also have hosting. And HostGator is very popular. GoDaddy is the most popular one. But all these are good. This is very popular as well, Bluehost. So now that you have domain name, server, you have to construct your website. So today, as I mentioned to you at the beginning, all websites were constructed by, have to hire a developer to create every single page. But today you have CMS, which is it's content management system. There's many out there that's very easy. Just many people can just create their own website, like Wix is one, WordPress, Drupal, and Joomla. Those are platforms that you can, if you have some technical skills and design skills, you can create your own website without having to spend money on a designer or a web designer. Wix is very popular. If you are a professional or if you are a small business, Wix may be fine because you can create very attractive website in a couple of hours because it's very easy. It's like a drag and drop image. They have a library of images that you can select. And a lot of professional small companies, they use Wix because it fits what they're looking for on the website. But large corporations, Wix, it's not an option. They have to go either WordPress or Drupal, special Drupal, because sometimes they need some special features. With Wix, you limit to what features they have there for you. But all these three, if you need a special feature on a website, you can contract a developer to create that feature for you and incorporate on your CMS. So if you have a large corporation, I would not recommend Wix. I would recommend either WordPress or Drupal. WordPress, a lot of people think WordPress is just for blogs. It's not true anymore. WordPress was designed for blogs way back, but it has evolved to become a very powerful CMS for websites. A lot of websites are created on WordPress today. At my school, at Tufts University, we have many websites on WordPress, but our main website is on Drupal, because Drupal is a better CMS, but WordPress is almost just as good, I would say. And this was one of the first in the market, but they haven't evolved so much, Joomla. So it's somehow in decline because most people go either for WordPress or Drupal. And the good thing about this is open source, all these three. Let's say you go have your website on GoDaddy. You're not happy with them. You can just download your website and go to HostGator, another server, and put your website there. This is the advantage of having here. With Wix, you are stuck with them because that's a very unique website, system that was designed. So once you get in Wix, you cannot move to another server or whatever. You are your site. So if one day you decided to host the website in-house, you cannot do that with Wix. So your website, you have to make sure if you have a store, the content on a website is very important. You have to make sure that the content on your website answer the questions of people that go there because they're looking for information. To inform, to instruct, to solve, or to sell. So you have to make sure that your website does all that. So once you have the website, nobody knows about your website. And a new website, it's not, if you go to Google, it's not yet being indexed for Google. So it's going to take time for their website to be indexed by Google so people can find. So, but there is some work that you have to do on your website in order to optimize their website for search engines, not only for Google, but for Bing, for Yahoo, and all search engines. There is a process to do that. It's very important that you address that because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for people to find you online. So you got to find out some keywords and all that. So when you do a search, like for California Hotel, if your website ranks high for that keyword, it'll show right here. I'll address this in a minute. These are paid advertising. People are actually bidding on that California hotel, and I'll explain to you how that works. This is paid. It's called pay-per-click. Why? Because when it appears here, if you are doing advertise pay-per-click, if your ad appears here, if that keyword is relevant for your website, you bid on that keyword. When your ad appears here, you don't pay anything for that. You only pay if somebody clicks there. So when it appears here, it's called an impression. When somebody clicks, then you pay, and you're going to decide how much you are willing to pay per each click, and I'll explain that in a second. That's why it's called pay-per-click. This is the organic results. This is the work that you've done on your website on SEO, search engine optimization. If you do a good work there, chances are that your website's starting to increase in ranking in order to appear in the first page. The goal is for each keyword that's relevant to your business that you want to try to optimize your website for those keywords. And if you do a good job, it takes time. Don't think that you optimize and the next day your website will be showing up here. No, it takes time because there's a lot of companies probably optimize their website for that. So every time that you select a keyword, you are picking a fight because there's competition out there. So I'll go over the Google, how Google works. So when you search something on Google, at that point when you search, it does not go to all websites to see what websites are relevant to your keyword. Now, what Google does, it crawls all the website and it harvests information and stores in their database. That's why it takes time for them to index your website, because when you type something on Google, it goes to Google database to find websites that are relevant to those keywords that somebody typed there. So it does not go real-time looking on all websites. Now, it does that on a daily basis. Google crawlers, that's what we call Google crawlers, crawls the website on the back end and starting to get information and puts that information on the database. Then when somebody is looking for information, it goes to that database and looks if there is any website that are relevant to those keywords. So the goal of Google, because why do we go to Google or any other search engine? Because every time we go there, we find the information we want. And Google wants to make sure that's true for anybody that goes there, because if you're starting to go to Google or any other search engine, type in keywords and you don't get relevant websites, that you don't get websites that are relevant to keywords for things you're looking, you'll stop going there. And the business of Google is to make sure every time somebody types in any keyword that is going to serve you websites, results of websites that are relevant to those keywords. This is the goal of Google, for not only for organic, but also for paid advertising. Because as I said, that's the reason we go there all the time, because we know that we're going to find answers for our questions. So I'm going to show you a little video so it gives you an idea how Google works.
Search engine land.
Can you hear the sound?
Imagine for a minute that you're a librarian, but not a normal one. You're a librarian for every book in the world. People depend on you every day to find the exact book they need. How do you do it? You need a system.
Oh, sorry. Is the sound okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Let me go back because I kind of
With search engine land. Imagine for a minute that you're a librarian, but not a normal one. You're a librarian for every book in the world. People depend on you every day to find the exact book they need. How do you do it? You need a system. You need to know what's inside every book and how books relate to each other. Your system needs to take in a lot of information and spit out the best answers for a patron's questions. It's not an easy job. Search engines like Google and Bing are the librarians of the internet. Their systems collect information about every page on the web so they can help people find exactly what they're looking for. And every search engine has a secret recipe called an algorithm for turning all that information into useful search results. Now, if you own a website, search results matter. When your pages have higher rankings, they help more people find you. The key to higher rankings is making sure your website has the ingredients search engines need for their recipes. This is called search engine optimization, or SEO. As it turns out, most of the big ingredients are known. Let's take a look. First, words matter. Search engines account for every word on the web. This way, when someone searches for shoe repair, the search engines can narrow results to only the pages that are about those words. Second, titles matter. Each page on the web has an official title, but you may not ever see it because it's in the code. Search engines pay a lot of attention to page titles because they often summarize the page like a book's title. Third, links between websites matter. When one web page links to another, it's usually a recommendation, telling readers this site has good information. A web page with a lot of links coming to it can look good to search engines. But some people try to fool the search engines by creating or buying bogus links all over the web that point to their own website. Usually, search engines can detect when a site has a lot of them, and they account for it by giving links from trustworthy sites more weight in the recipe. Fourth, the words that are used in links matter too. If your web page says Amazon has lots of books, and the word books is linked, search engines can establish that Amazon.com is related to the word books. This way, when someone searches for books, that site will rank well. Lastly, search engines care about reputation. Sites with a consistent record of fresh, engaging content and growing numbers of quality links may be considered rising stars and do well in search rankings. These are just the basics, and the recipes are refined and changed all the time. Good SEO is about making sure your website has great content that's supported by the ingredients that search engines need for their recipes. I'm Lee LeFever, and this.
So that's summarize exactly what I just said. You got to have relevant content, and you have then to choose the keywords that are relevant to that page. So let's see, you got to do keyword research. So, but I'll go over that in a second. So traffic to your website comes from, it's called traffic source. It can come from organic search, like somebody searching on Google. That's the number one sources of traffic coming to your website. Direct means that somebody knows your domain, or he has that bookmark on the browser. Referrals, it's like comes from another website, those links that you saw in the video. That's if somebody goes to one website and clicks in a link and that's on your website, so their website is a referral, so it's sending traffic to your website. Then social, if you doing social media, sometimes you post things there and you have the link to your website. So that's another way of sending traffic to your website. Then it's paid advertising. You do either pay-per-click advertising, I'll cover that in a sec, or display advertising, any type of advertising, banner advertising, then you put a link there to drive people to your website. That's another way of traffic to your website. And if you do email marketing, on your email, you put links there. So if you have like your website connected to Google Analytics, Google Analytics will tell you all this information. How many traffic did you get from organic search, from direct, from referral, social, all that. Google Analytics actually gives you all kind of information. How many people came to your website, what time, how long they stay in each page, what was the funnel, how many pages they check. So you use Google Analytics to look at your website and say, okay, I thought this content was relevant, but people come here and this takes like 5 minutes to read, and the average time on that page is like 20 seconds. So you know the majority of people are not reading that content. So maybe you look at that page and say, okay, maybe I gotta do something here. That's the reason that you connect your website to Google Analytics or any other tool for web analytics. But Google Analytics is free and most people use that. And that gives you information about the performance of your website and helps you optimize your website as you go along. Because optimization of a website is not one deal, you do it and it's done. No, it's a working process. And I mentioned to you, it takes time to achieve your goals there. So key factors to rank well on Google Organic. So you got to have enough good internal link structure, backlinks, that's the referrals. It's always good. And this has to do with the code, because sometimes if you, like most CMS today, you don't have to worry about that because the code is being very optimized. And like WordPress, Wix and all that, those, you don't have to worry about this because this is the code. But if you decide to hire a developer to create a very unique website, you have to make sure that developer is going to optimize the code so the website doesn't take forever to load. That's very easy code, that's clean, because Google can find all that and it can penalize your website if it takes probably too long to load. And most important, the content has to be relevant. If you want to rank well for some sort of keywords, so you have to make sure that the content that you have there, it answers the questions of those queries that people are doing on different search engines. So keyword research, why it's important? Because that's what you going to optimize your website for. So every time you pick a keyword, as I said, you pick a fight. So the best way to do this, so you look at the page of your website. So you got to, let's say you have several pages on your website. You look at each page and you ask yourself, if I'm looking for this page, what keywords I'll be using to find this content on this page? And then you do research to see if so you probably, when you first start, you probably have like 5, 6, 7 different keywords that you think people are going to use to find your website. But you should concentrate for one keyword per page, because it's very hard to rank for many pages, for many keywords per page. But so imagine that you have a website, e-commerce that sells casual shoes for men. So you say, okay, I'm going to try to rank for shoes. That's a problem, because that's a very generic keyword. And probably a lot of competition there, a lot of people trying to rank their website for shoes. And that might not be relevant, because you probably sell only a particular type of shoes, just casual shoes for men. So it's better to think about using the long tail keywords optimized for this instead of this. This is going to be very hard. And probably here, it'll be more, it's probably easier for you to rank your website. And this is not so bad, so middle way. And the reason is this. Again, for shoes, the volume per month of search for shoes, probably it's high, but it's probably not relevant to your business. And the competition is high. Very hard for you to rank. If you can rank for shoes, that's wonderful. But if you start a new website and say, oh, I'm going to try to rank for shoes, that's the wrong approach. Especially if you only sell shoes, casual shoes for men, that's it. The volume per month of search is probably low, not as high, but it's probably very relevant to your website, and the competition is low. So chances are that anybody that's searching for casual shoes for men, your website will be showing. So you have to do some research. Make sure that you select the proper keywords. Again, those keywords have to be relevant to your website. So on-page optimization, that's when you're starting to select focus keywords for each page. So then you have to make sure that keyword is on the page URL. Let's say your domain is whatever, something.com. Then that page is, you got to name that page like casual shoes for men. So if you have that type of URL, that's good. Then you have to make sure that keyword is on the page title, casual shoes for men. Then you got to put on the copy, because if your first paragraph talks about casual shoes for men, make sure it's there. Meta description, that's something on the background that will be on your page. When you read the PDF, you'll explain a little more what meta description is. So most of the, like WordPress, those content management system, they have like a field in each page that you can put the meta description there. I'll explain to you what that is. So look at here. This is an example of a result. So this is the title tag, or the title of your page. And the meta description is this. So this is the way you optimize. So the way you approach each page is, again, put yourself in the user's point of view and think what keywords I'm going to use to find this keyword, this page. Paid links. Those are links coming from the website, and you saw in the video, that's a no-no. You shouldn't do that, because Google will find out, and you'll probably, it can even black out your website, and you'll probably never show on Google Engine till you fix that. So those are things that it's called black hat SEO, meaning you're doing something to try to fool Google. and they don't want that at all. I'll give you an example because I started using SEOs probably early 2000. Those days, the algorithms of Google were very simple, very easy to follow. So the way we optimize websites was to populate the page with some keywords, because initially Google only read keywords, said, as many keywords I find in this page, I'm going to rank that #1. That was the beginning of Google search engine. So the way we did this is, let's say you have a copy right here, and then on the bottom here on the footer, we put we repeat the keywords one after the other. But so the viewer would not see, we make that keywords like say white color over a white background. So Google would read that, but the user would not see. There was a way to fool Google, and we did that. And believe it or not, our pages would rank very high. But once Google started to catch up with that, it's starting to penalize those websites. And today, if you do that, your website will go on the blacklist. So you have to make sure that you use keywords on your website, but don't overpopulate that. It's not going to help you anymore. So pay-per-click now, let's move on. So now your website is optimized. Now to do pay-per-click is, I'm going to cover AdWords. It's probably the most popular. AdWords is the pay-per-click for Google, because Bing also has pay-per-click, Yahoo has pay-per-click, and they all work in the same way. So by knowing one, you'll know the rest. The concept is very simple. So you select the keywords that are relevant to whatever you're selling or whatever you it's relevant to you. You pick those keywords, doing some keyword research for paid search, and because you want to show up here. So how do you show up here? Because you know you have to bid on those keywords. So what Google does is some sort of auction. So Google looks at many factors in order to display, because many people probably are trying to bid on this California hotel keyword. So Google will get the most relevant result here. Because imagine if there is like 20 people bidding on that keyword, probably only 4 would show up. Here I have only 2, but usually it's like 4 now. Google displays 4 paid. And you know it's paid because it says AD here. All the rest looks exactly like the organic result. The only difference is this part here. And you know these people are bidding on the hotel. They have content that's relevant, as relevant as this. But because probably they're not ranking well, or probably they want to be on the top, they bid on those keywords. So pay-per-click is a good way to advertise for many reasons. One, you only pay if somebody clicks there. Second, you know that you're advertising for people that are actively looking for you. So it's very well targeted. It's a good way to advertise. And a good thing is, once you create like your ad, so usually try to create a landing page, a specific landing page. And most of the times the advertising that we do on Google is to collect information. It's to, like we call action marketing, to collect first name, last or email, whatever. This is one of the goals to do advertise on Google. So as I mentioned to you, it's a bidding process. Let's say you have 4 people here that want to bid on this keyword here, casual shoes for men. Mr. Green, Mrs. Red, Mrs. Orange, and Mr. Blue. So they all say, okay, the maximum I'm going to pay for anybody for each click will be $4. This one says, I'm only willing to pay $3 per click. That's your call. This one, $2, and this one, $1. So you think, okay, this is going to be position 1 because it's saying $4. position 2 because she's saying $3 maximum. But that's not necessarily true because, again, Google wants to make sure that this keyword this one is bidding on, his website or his landing page is relevant to this. Because otherwise, Google doesn't like that. He has to make sure that whatever keywords this person is bidding on, even if he says $4, if this website, his website is not relevant to this keyword, maybe his ad will never display because Google has what he calls quality score. Quality score, it's a score that Google gives to each keyword that you select based on your website. It goes from 1 to 10. And it's based on different factors. Let me go over that. So your website has to be relevant to the keyword. The landing page of their website has to really address that information. And again, when your ad is displayed, if nobody clicks there, Google's trying to say, maybe it's not so relevant. It's called this is CTR, stands for click-through rate. So it's the relationship between as many times your website, your ad is displayed on Google and how many people click on that. It's called click-through rate. It's the ratio between impressions, which is when your ad is served on Google, and the amount of people who click on that. That's click-through rate. So the highest your click-through rate, Google think that website might be relevant. It's another way because Google gets paid by the clicks. If your website has been displayed your ad has been displayed many times and nobody clicks on that, Google does not make any money. So the way Google calculates the ad ranking is by the maximum bid and also the quality score, which goes from 1 to 10, which is based on relevance of your website and all that. So again, let's go back to this. $4, $3, $2, and $1. Now let's see the quality score. This one here for $4, Google said the quality score is very low, 1. For this one, 3. This one, 6. This one, 8. So the quality score here is high. This is very good too. 3 is not too bad. But then Google, the calculation is this. Maximum you are willing to bid for that keyword plus times your quality score. So here the ad ranking grade is 4, 9, 12, and 8. So if somebody types this, which website will show on the top? This one here. Not that one. So the position is this. Again, bidding high is good, but you have to make sure that your quality score is high too. So this is how much each one of them are willing to pay. But doesn't mean this is the maximum. They say, I'm willing to pay the maximum. But most of the times you don't pay that maximum. So in this case, for example, I'm just giving you an example for casual shoes for men. This is number 1, as we saw, high quality score and goes down. The one that is willing to spend $4 with a low quality score, so it ranks 4 on the Google. So this is how much usually they pay. An example, this one pays $1.10, this one $5 for each click. So whatever you say it's my maximum, it doesn't mean that you're going to pay that. Google has a formula to calculate that. Any questions? So it's important to make sure that your quality score is good. So some metrics to keep in mind: number of impressions, as I mentioned, many times your ad shows on Google. Click-through rate is the ratio between the clicks and the impressions. So you take the number of clicks divided by impression, you get your click-through rate. Conversion rate, this happens at, like, if your goal is to generate leads, the conversion rate, it's done on your landing page. So it's how many people arrive there versus the people that fill up the form. That's your conversion rate. Average cost per click. So this is, oops, this is the average per click. So it's going to depend. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. For in a month, you say my average cost per click is like $3. Then the cost per conversion. So at the end of the month, you spend $100, and you had only 4 people filling up the form. So it's $20 per conversion. You spend $100 and you only got 4 leads. So that's your cost per conversion. So it's the total amount you spend on the advertising divided by the number of conversions, which in this case, you have to decide what the goal is. If the conversion is to generate leads, that's what it is. But if it sells something on your e-commerce, that's a different story, or many products you sell. So you define your goals, and then your conversion, it depends on what goals have you defined. So landing page, again, you have to make sure that your landing page addresses those keywords. So this is a landing page that we did probably a couple of years ago at Tufts University. So the goal here was for somebody to fill out this form. And here we don't have any. Sometimes we say download this brochure or download this PDF or this case study, whatever. Because sometimes you got to give some sort of incentive for them to give you the numbers, I mean the information. And in this stage, I suggested probably some people only ask for email, but it's all good to ask for first name, last name, and email. So first name, last name, and email. The reason is, if you get that information, if you send an email marketing, you want to address them by their first name, dear John, dear Joe. So you got to have the first name. So it's better to ask first name, last name, and email. Never phone number at this stage, because most of us don't like to give phone numbers right away. Maybe as you nurture them, eventually you'll ask for a phone number, or they'll probably give you the phone number so you can have a call. But this is a landing page to do like a paid search campaign. You create this landing page, so you send people here because your goal is for them to fill out the form. So that's why I don't have any links. I want to keep them here. Make sure that the only thing they can do is here, fill up the form. That's the goal. So I don't have any place for them to go. They can exit this, but I don't distract them. I give them enough information, enough teasers, and the goal is fill up this form. I'm not going to cover this now. Yeah. So let's cover now display advertising. That's another form of advertising. So display advertising is banner advertising. You've seen those. Those are banner advertising. So you can go straight to different publishers and deal with them. You go to sometimes to media buyers, and they will decide, you create the banners and they'll decide where to place depend on your target audience. Again, you can design several different banners. Again, same goal, fill up the form. You decide what the goal is. But as you can see, the majority of the goals that I have here, it's lead generation, we call it. Another one here, the all for Tufts that I did. This is a Northeastern University. They also do lead generation. See, here they are asking for phone number, program. May not be a required field, but I would never ask for this now. Some people do, and probably not being a required field, so the user can either give the number or not. It's an option. Another example of a landing page. So this landing page has to be relevant to the keywords that you use if you are doing paid search. If it's banner advertising, that's not relevant. Several examples of these are sizes for different banners. As you saw, I show you a few there. So if you do targeted advertising, I mentioned to you, using big data, you can do behavior targeting based on the behavior online. This is contextual, displayed on sites that matches the behavior interest. Retargeting. You probably haven't I'll cover that in a second. Let's go talk because this is not too important. Facebook display ads, I'll talk. So you can do advertising also on Facebook besides the organic. Different types of ads on Facebook. This is the dashboard to create advertising on Facebook. So once you create advertising on Facebook, it's very simple because if you follow the steps, it asks you, what's your goal? Brand awareness, traffic to your website, engagement. So there's many goals here. It's very easy to create advertising there. So remarketing, anybody knows what that is? This is when you go to a website, let's say Amazon, look at a product, and then move away to another website. And that advertising keeps following you. That's what we call retargeting or remarketing. It's very effective, especially on if you do if you have an e-commerce. So then you can do retargeting people that visited your website and they move to another website because that that cookie, JavaScript embedded there knows that you've been in that particular page. So then they're starting to show you the same advertising as you move to other websites. Again, just examples of. So this is some sort of a code that you put on page for retargeting. So display advertising, you have many reach. Let's say you have 1,000 reach, then the click-through rate is always low. 2% is not bad. Then the conversion, 3% is not bad. So don't expect like if you have like 1,000 reach that you're gonna get. So usually the conversion rate goes from 6–7% is good. So again, impression, the number of times you're at a display, reach, the people that you have reached. So the difference between impression and reach is, me as a user, I can be, the same ad can be displayed to me 5 times. So it's gonna count 5 impressions, but just 1 reach. Reach is per user. So that's why you probably get a lot of impressions, but the reach is just 1. Because as I said, as a user, that same ad they may display the ad many times to me, like 5 times, 10 times. Still count as an impression, but as a reach is just 1. Clicks, the number of times people click on the ad. Click-through rate, as I mentioned to you, is the ratio between impression and clicks. So you take the number of clicks divided by impression, you get your click-through rate right here. Number of clicks divided by impression, click-through rate. In percentage, then you multiply by 100 to get the percentage. Social media advertising, I'm not going to cover this because it's getting late and I have, it's all on the thing. So let's just go quick over email advertising. It's very effective doing email advertising, email marketing. Because if today using HubSpot and any other tools, it's very easy to create a series of email. I'm going to just show it. Yeah. So this is what we call email blast. So you take one email and you send to everyone the same email. Sometimes if you have a list of emails and you don't know them, you got to start with this. But then depends on the action these people take on that first email. Then you create something like this. You send an email. This is a workflow. You can do this with a HubSpot, Marketo, any marketing tool. You send an email to everyone. Now, then 2 things can happen. They can open the email or not open. If they open the email, 2 things can happen. So it's going to be, this is based on the action. So if somebody clicks on one linked email, there's another email waiting for them, probably based on the click. They click, and then you have this. If they didn't open the email, I mean, if they open the email and didn't click, then you probably wait a little more long and send another email. But again, open email. If the email was not open, you probably have another email ready to go a week later, the same content. what triggers somebody to open the email? It's the subject line. So what you do there, you change the subject line, and that person is going to get another email with the same content, but just different subject line to see if it opens the email. And then the same thing happens. It's based on the action. So many marketing tools allow you to create this workflow of email. Another way that probably you can do, it's based not on the action, but based on time. So you send an email, then you set another email to go to the same people 2 days later, another 4 days, 6 days. This is good if you have like an event. You want to remind people, this is coming, this is coming. For doing email marketing, it's not the best. The best approach is based on the action I just showed you. Then for any things that you do, again, you look at your emails, you look at the open rate, how many emails was open versus this number of emails you send. That's called the open rate. Click-through rate is exactly like the other click-through rate. The emails people open, how many times they click. Unique open email. Okay, because this is another metric. Because here open rate, somebody can open email many times. This is just if you open email one time. Bounce rate, that means the email was not delivered. Probably because the person, the receiver, the email box was full of any other reason, wrong email, it's called bounce rate. Unsubscribe rate, if you are sending like a lot of emails and then your unsubscribe is very high, something is wrong. Probably not sending the right content to the right person. Because if you are doing properly, probably your unsubscribe rate is very low. But if your unsubscribe rate is high, you got to look at your emails and you got to look at the behavior of the interest of the person that you send an email. Conversion rate is, again, you define your goals. If it's sell product, whatever. So there is many platforms out there, MailChimp, Constant Contact, HubSpot, all these things that you can use to do email marketing. This is what I had for you for today. So again, there's a lot of information here, but if you read that PDF, it covers in more detail and it gives you, probably read that over and over and prepare yourself for, because there's a few questions on the quiz regarding what I just discussed here, and also some of the questions, some of the things that you'll read on that PDF. Any questions?
I was just wondering what the, you were talking about email marketing. When does something become spam?
Become spam is exactly now, if you're starting to send email. Spam, first of all, if you send an email, because today you should make sure that people sign up for your email. If they don't sign up for your email, you can consider that spam. But again, company, if you go and you sign up a form, that means you sign up for email. As long as you are sending relevant information, it's not considered spam. Because if somebody gave you the information, first name, last name, and email, even so, you may not say, I'm going to use email to market you. You always give an option there, a button there for them to unsubscribe. That's required by law. So you got to make sure that your email has a button there that somebody doesn't want to get any more emails from you, clicks that button, and you have 30 days to take that person from your mailing list. So there is some rules out there that that you have to follow. So spam is when you're starting to send email. It's like spam your mailbox, you know, putting a lot of garbage there that it's not relevant to you, and you unsubscribe and you keep getting emails. That's spam. And if some email marketing, depending on some either it comes from not very verified servers, instead of going to your inbox, goes to your spam box. Can be that you have filters there that kind of flags that email. Instead of going to your inbox, end up in your spam box or your trash. So it's going to depend on some security levels, and also like emails coming from a server from Amazon or any company that people already know, and so that usually doesn't end up on the spam. But again, one of the things that most people advise not to do is for you to buy email lists, because people did not subscribe for that. But believe it or not, a lot of companies still do that. And what you can do when you buy email list, I'm not saying it's not a good practice, but sometimes you got to start from someplace. You got an email list, send that blast email, but make sure that from that on, you only send that email. You then, based on whatever happens with that email that you send as a blast email, then you're starting to segment your database and just starting to target people that have had some sort of action on that email that you send. It's a way to, the first email is definitely a spam, because you are sending blast email to people that don't know you, people that didn't ask for emails. That's a spam.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I just have one quick question. So, for example, like I've been seeing a lot of advertisements for companies that I've never even shopped at before on social media pages. And so if I click on their advertisement, am I more likely to keep seeing their advertisements on my social media?
Yes and no, because it's social media. So if every single one of you open your social media page, you're going to get different advertising there. It's going to depend on your behavior online, on the things, because Facebook, for example, they know what you like, what you don't like, because the things you click or don't click. So if you click on an advertiser, it's just telling Facebook, this person likes this type of ads. So probably you'll get more ads similar to that one. So it's your behavior there that determines your profile. So special Facebook, they know is every single one of us that navigate that. They know which posts you click, what sites you visit. So everything that you do on Facebook, it's being harvested to a database. So the ads that you being served, it's going to be ads that supposedly relevant to your behavior. So if you keep clicking on those, most likely you'll get more of the same ads.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay, if there's no more questions, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and stay healthy. Bye now.
Have a good night. Thank you.